just a business, it's a movement, a career, a future. So ask yourself, are you ready to be the guide, to lead, to grow? Become an independent franchise consultant. Be the guide. Grow with us. Franchise India.
Okay, hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Sajid Joy. I'm the business head at Franchise India. Well, it's nice to see a good amount of participation for this webinar. And we'd like to thank each one of you for taking the time to attend this special webinar. Now, this webinar is special because some of you are getting the opportunity to align as consultants with Franchise India. And this opportunity is also special because this is coming to you directly from the house of Franchise India. Now, talking about the Franchise India's growth, we've been in the market for the past 27 years now. And we're currently operating in 15 countries and 97 cities in India. Now, to put things in perspective for your benefit and also to get a good understanding of the Franchise India business model, I would request our Managing Director, Ms. Sonia Chowdhury, to take this session forward. Over to you, Ms. Chowdhury. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sajid. And friends, a very good evening to all of you. And before we get started, I will also introduce our leadership that has joined from across the country. So Sajid is already introduced. So he heads our business in Karnataka, based out of Bangalore. We have Anurag that you see on the screen. He's part of a team in East India, based out of Kolkata office. We have Harman, who's part of a team up north. He sits out of a Chandigarh office. And we also have Shakti, who leads our two large regions in south, which is Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And Kapil is a part of his team who leads the initiative of working and supporting our partners, along with Ajesh, who also works with Shakti in south of India. We have Mukul, who's part of our team in north, and he's based out of Delhi. So this is the team, and I also see Raja, who's joined us from Bombay. He's part of our team who leads the entire initiative for Maharashtra. So we have teams which are spread across the country. So before we get started, friends, I'll also request to make this session as interactive as possible. And in order to do that, I'll also share a little bit about our company because it is very important to know about the group, the offering that we have. So I'll also set the perspective. I was also seeing some of you raise their hands. I'll request anyone who has any questions can put these questions in the Q&A box. We'll take your names and we'll try to answer all that you have to ask us in the time that we have. So this would be an hour session where we'll take you through the following. So first and foremost, like I said, we'll talk about who we are as a company, which is Franchise India Group Companies. And most importantly, the value proposition that we offer and what is the problem that we are solving. Second, very important to understand the industry. So we'll talk about the franchise industry and also important to understand the opportunity it has for the next 10 to 20 years. Third, we'll talk about our proposition, the offering for independent franchise consultants. And finally, we'll also take you through the selection criteria for partners. And it is very important because while this is an opportunity for everyone who's joined into partner, but we have some select criteria based on which we select some partners who can work with us. And this is not just about money, but most importantly, I would say the resource that we have today is the time, which is our product. So a lot of people who come on this webinar, they're people who are from different fields, I would say. And so I'll also like to know where you come from, what cities that you come from, because today, as we speak with 27 years on our back, we've been working in India, 97 cities, like Sajid said, and we operate out of 15 countries globally. But equally, we have a lot of markets in the country still where we are underserved. When I say underserved, the opportunity is much bigger than what we're addressing, right? So at Franchise India, we bring in the last 27 years of our validated learning, our experience, our knowledge, which I would say is unparalleled because we work with some of the most recognized companies, both at the national level, at the global level, and also a very large community of entrepreneurs, people who want to start a business. So when I say that today, there are a lot of advisors, there are people, there are brokers in the market who can advise you on maybe investing in stocks, education, immigration, property, and there are millions of these advisors already in the country or advising a lot of their clients. But even in a country like India, which has a very big legacy of entrepreneurship, when we started our business way back in 1999, we realized with a market like India, an aspiration which is as big as, I would say, every single household in India, there would be somebody who wants to start a business. There was none when we started Franchise India. So we wanted to reach out to people who wanted to start business. At the same time, equally, we also wanted to bring in a lot of companies who were ready at that point in time to offer their franchising. So these 27 years, I would say we have come a very long way, and we have actually worked with more than 10 million investors to help them start a business, and more than 20,000 companies, which is a very big number. And these companies, again, are startups. These are mid-sized companies. These are large corporates. These are enterprises and companies as big as, I would say, Adani's, Aditya Birla Group, Reliance. These are all companies today actually that we work across the country. And we've also spearheaded market entries for more than 720 brands globally. And these market entries were done for India subcontinent. So at the group level, we run different companies and businesses under a group of companies. But just to summarize, I'll start with the prime offering that we offer as a company. So first and foremost, I would say if somebody wants to look at Franchise India, we are a start your own business platform. So which means that anyone who wants to start a business can come to Franchise India, and we evaluate, we work with business buyers and take them through the entire process of buying a business, where we handhold them through the entire journey, entire process, from evaluation of the opportunities to help them select the opportunities based on their profile, the investment, the market, the risk appetite they want to take. So first and foremost, we are an investment platform, which is start your own business. When I say start your own business, this is active businesses which are run by operators and franchise partners versus passive investments like stock, property, where I said that we already have millions of brokers in the market. So we are not just one of them. So anyone who wants to start a business is the community, the opportunity that we have at hand. Today, if you look at, and I'm sure you all would also recognize, this demand is becoming much bigger than I would say I experienced maybe 2.5 decades back when we started our company. So not only it has become bigger, but more aware investors who are well-traveled, they have aspiration for brands. They know much brands than many of us would know. They in fact come to us with specific brand as an aspiration they want to get to the Indian market. And they also have an appetite not only to invest, but also put significant time to master the business. And what I see lately, especially the last 2 odd years, there's a very young cohort which is coming forward, the young population of India, which I would say is a very big strength of our country, who are coming forward and taking a lot of these opportunities from us, from small businesses to even larger master franchisee of international brands. The second business that we are in is where we help companies to scale. So when I say we help companies to scale, so any companies who's looking to expand. So when you look at your entire ecosystem, your consumption that we consume, all the consumption that today is happening through a branded environment. So from the mother dairy booth where we pick up our dairy from, to the diagnostic lab where we take these services, to the salon, to the gym, to the preschools, K-12, the hotels, hospitals. In fact, everything and anything that you consume, to even your services that we consume through Swiggy, Zomato, Zepto, all these companies use the distribution and the power of franchising to reach out to their end customer. So we help these companies in two ways. We help these companies to first and foremost create their business model. We help them become ready to get into franchising, where we have a separate company called FrankCorp, which is again acquired by Franchise India 20 years back. This is an American company and is a 50-year-old company based out of US, which has worked with the likes of McDonald's, KFC's, Hilton Hotels, Hershey's. And this company has worked in India with, like I said, 20,000 companies to help them become ready to get into franchising. So we work with them to create their business models, go-to-market strategy, their financial business model, their marketing communications, legal agreement, their SOPs to run and operate and train their franchisees. All that is done by this company. And the second proposition for brands that we offer is we help them to expand their footprint. So anyone who wants to scale, who wants to grow, want to distribute, we are the only channel or the platform which can help these companies to expand their distribution of their product services through channel of franchising. And we work with companies, again, all sizes. Like I said, we work with a lot of startups, we work with corporates, we work with the top enterprises, corporates of our country. And what I've seen and we are witnessing today is the era whereas big corporatization in terms of franchising has started to happen. Major brands across all industries today are adopting the franchise route for scale, for faster growth, and not only faster growth, I would say more sustainable growth, because a franchise partner not only brings in capital, because he also brings in, apart from capital, a very big value which companies, even the biggest corporate need, which is their time to put in the business, which brings in more efficiencies into day-to-day operations of the business. 25% of startups in India, they also choose franchising to scale their services, to scale their products. And this number in India is growing every single year. We all know how the startup ecosystem is growing every single year. And the third business that we are is the business where we also work with companies to help them exit their business. So for example, if there's a business owner who does not want to run their business, it can be a franchise business. He can sell that business through us, or it can also be an entity which is owned and operated by a proprietor or traditional business. They can reach out to us through our Business X, which is a separate business arm of Franchise India, where we evaluate these businesses, we create IM for these businesses, and we also find strategic partners or also financial partners to take over the entity or the entire business altogether. So if you look at the way that people start business is only three ways. One is their own startup. Second is resales, which is you take up something who's or maybe a running business, and you take that business and you start running that business by yourself. And third is franchise business, where you acquire the rights or the privilege of a brand, and you're trained on the systems and processes of the brand, and you run and operate those businesses. And at Franchise India, we work with the last two, which is we help people to take businesses in franchising. So when I say franchising, all forms and formats of franchising, from exclusive brand outlets to distribution to dealership, we work all across, and also resale. So if you want to buy a running business, we are the only platform that can help you acquire a running profitable business. So what our company does in short is we bridge the gap between potential global domestic companies and also ambitious entrepreneurs across the country, and also international markets where we are present in. And we specialize in identifying and also scaling franchise opportunities across diverse sectors. So franchising is industry agnostic. It works across all industries and sectors, from retail to F&B to health to wellness, beauty, education. We work across all these industries. So the last 27 odd years, we have actually created a very strong ecosystem, like I said, which is unparalleled through all the group companies put together, with our presence and distribution, which is from Jammu to deep down Kerala, 15 countries. But at the same time, because we felt the opportunity was much bigger, we also created an opportunity where like-minded entrepreneurs could also partner with Franchise India in India and also in international markets. So there are two companies largely, which is one is Franchise India, and also our group companies which operates in India. And we also have our international company, which is Fran Global, through which we operate our business in international markets. The larger work of Fran Global is to bring a lot of international brands to Indian market, and also we do a lot of cross market entries for brands. And like I said, more than 700 companies, we have been successful in bringing them to different markets as a master franchisee. So we felt we also wanted to create an opportunity where partners or like-minded entrepreneurs like you could partner with us in this very thriving, very dynamic franchise industry. So to give you a little background also on franchising, which is very important for all of us to understand, because any industry that we want to participate or work in, you have to understand the future fitness of that industry and how that industry is growing. So if you look at franchising, it is a global success stories. All the brands that today we consume, whether these are brands like McDonald's, we know these companies, KFCs, these are names which are synonymous with franchising. It's a global success story. A brand like Subway, they run more than 50,000 locations across the world. They only have one outlet of their own, which is owned and operated by the company. The rest are all franchised, right? And similarly is the case of many other global brands who are expanding. A brand like, I would say, the hotel industry. So if you look at the biggest chain of hotel, it is the biggest chain in the country, India, and globally the largest chain. And this is the Marriott, which runs in more than 130 countries across the globe, and the largest chain, which is also franchising across all their formats, and there are different formats. So franchising is a global success stories across all industries, and it is also at the same time a very big catalyst for entrepreneurships and very powerful wealth creation and an entrepreneurial engine, which actually fuels the economy of a lot of countries like India, emerging economies, developing economies like ours. And this is the engine that we also want to reinforce through our independent franchise consultant program. And I'm sure all of you acknowledge that India experiences a very strong wave of growth of entrepreneurship and franchise-driven expansion. So we invite forward-thinking professionals to join us in building one of the most dynamic franchise networks in the country. So the problem, I would say, what we were trying to solve, and something which has remained very, very consistent with us throughout our journey so far. The core driver, the foundation of our business is entrepreneurship. And the premise initiative for us to even start the IFC program was to work with entrepreneurs like yourself as our partners who have the skill and equally the intent to drive entrepreneurship like everybody at Franchise India has. And I'm happy to also tell every week we do this webinar, and every week there are more than 1,000 inquiries or applications, I would say, we receive from a lot of investors or a lot of entrepreneurs, I would say, who want to partner with us. And our community of our IFC partners has become very big. We started this initiative in COVID, and that was the time we had the largest number of, I would say, partners who came forward to join us. But since our requirement is bigger, the industry is big, the demand is big, our partners today work across all the 97 cities in India, not only the cities that we are present in, even cities like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, where we have big infrastructure, our larger teams who work out. Even in these cities where we have our larger teams working out, I have maybe the same size of my partners also who work in these cities. And this is because the business opportunity, the market size is becoming, and it continues to become bigger. And we believe we need more deeper, we need larger penetration distribution through this entrepreneurship program, right? So to capture this opportunity. So I'll also talk about some of the key drivers for franchising in India. So if we look at why we feel this industry is going to become big, there are some highlights which I want to share with all of you. If you look at consumption, we all talk about consumption. The consumption story of India is very, very impressive. And that is what also attracts a lot of international brands and businesses to enter India, from FDIs to international market entries. So there's a big consumption as far as India is concerned, and this consumption has only grown every single year. What we have seen the last 20 years, this consumption is becoming more and more formalized. So there's a big formalization of consumption which has started to happen. So as the retail infrastructure develops in any economy, any markets, the brand consciousness also rises, which leads to increased demand for branded products and services. And what we saw 20 years back was a big modernization of retail that started to happen. We saw a lot of retail businesses, brands, which came forward to expand through initially their company operated outlets, and eventually they started also franchising. The trend that we are seeing now, which is also becoming very, very strong, is the service sector, which is modernizing. And when I say service sector, this is the industry which we have services like laundry, like direct to health, consumer healthcare services, cleaning services, even the services of Zomato, Swiggy, which are hyper services, quick commerce services. They all come from franchise businesses, and these are all branded, right? So there is a big formalization of consumption that is happening. And I also talked about a lot of startups today. 25% of these startups use franchising to expand their footprint. Second, if you see, there is a big growth in the service sector, and the service sector in India alone contributes about 52% of our GDP. And predominantly, it is driven by franchise businesses. So most of the franchise businesses that you would see, these are service-centric businesses. And this is not alone the case of India. The shift towards service-based GDPs globally is also very, very clear, as service-oriented sectors, including franchising, are now at the forefront of economic growth globally. And this is also the case for India. The third thing which I like to come back to is the very strong and deeply ingrained culture of entrepreneurship in India. India inherently has a very strong legacy of entrepreneurship, and this is evident from the large number of micro businesses across the neighborhood, which is being run by entrepreneurs, from a Amul dairy booth to a Mother dairy booth. All these booths, small businesses, are all run by franchise partners. And especially if I see the demand at the bottom of the pyramid, it is very, very high. And franchising also provides a viable option for individuals who aspire to own and run their own businesses, right? The fourth aspect is this new cohort I talked about. So when we started our business in 1999, there was a very small percentage of people who had some experience of running and operating a business, which could be their own business or a franchise business. And a larger number of people who came to us were people who were experienced entrepreneurs who came to us to start a business, and very small percentage of people who I would say were first-time business buyers. So in 1999, when we started, there were only 10% of the community which was first-time business buyer who were coming, and they were first-generation business buyer. Now, fast forward these 27 years, this group today makes 60% of the total business buying community, which means out of every 100 businesses which are awarded by companies through us and otherwise, these businesses are taken by first-time entrepreneurs who have no relative experience of running and starting a business. And the most interesting part, like I said, is also the age group of people who are starting businesses. So today we have a very big demographic, which is 25 to 35 years of age, is a very young population of India who's actually starting their entrepreneurship journey. There are people who are coming forward to take these larger brands. And this trend has doubled in the last 10 years, which highlights a very growing interest and a potential for first-time entrepreneurs in our country. And finally, if you look at the job creation challenge, every emerging economy, developing economy has a very big challenge of job creation, and franchising comes as a very big solution to this problem. So India, we all know, has faces a very massive job creation challenge, and it needs to create almost 1 million jobs every single month for the next 10 years. So you can do your maths and calculate, if we need 1 million jobs to be created every single month for the next 10 years, what is the quantum of jobs you're looking to create in a span of 10 years? What we currently addressing is only 25% of this target, which means there is a big gap of 75%. So franchising comes as a solution because many individuals who are turning to franchising to buy themselves a job in the absence of sufficient opportunities also for job. And equally, if you go to tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, the job opportunities, and especially I would say high paying job opportunities, are very, very few. So most of the people from tier 2, 3 and 4 would come to the cosmo cities and the capitals like Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Bombay, and they would work there. So franchising comes as a very big solution for people in smaller cities, and equally for individuals who want to start a business for themselves, and I would say gift a job to themselves. Now, coming to the industry, franchising, like I said, is a very big industry. And if you look at the size globally, this is $5 trillion industry. India is almost about $180 billion. And this growth is increasing at a pace of 30% every year. And in the next 10 years, this will be 10x of the growth. So you can imagine, if this is $180 billion size today, and the next 10 years would be 10x of the size, which means more companies would come, more entrepreneurs would come to expand the industry. So as a franchise consultant, we don't only give opportunities to investors, or I would say business buyers, but we also shape the future and partner in someone's journey of entrepreneurship. And at Franchise India, we just don't sell franchisees. While there's nobody in the world, we have a trademark registered with us, which says nobody in the world sells more business than us. But we're in the business of building more and more entrepreneurs and empowering entrepreneurs through entrepreneurship. But like I said, we're not a sales company. We are a business which is run through knowledge. We are in a knowledge business, and that is what sets us apart from most of the other businesses out there in the market. So what we are here today is to build a very powerful ecosystem of knowledge partners, entrepreneurs who understand the responsibility, the influence, and most importantly, I would say the impact of work they do. So our business is not a product business, unlike a lot of other businesses, but we are a knowledge business, which requires our partners to come forward for everyday learning, to be able to advise people who want to start a business. And they need to come with a mindset of growth and believe in the same purpose as we do, which is democratization of entrepreneurship. So having said that, friends, I'll also talk about what is the proposition we offer, what is the offering that we have. And we have a small presentation which I'll request Sajid to take you through. But before that, I'll also request all of you, we've shared about ourselves. It is very important that we also know everyone who has joined in today on this webinar. So a small introduction, if you can share about yourself, and to make it more easy for you to respond, I'll request if you can select one of the four options. Sajid, we can also put that in the box. Maybe people can also see that. So the four option, friends, for you are one, you can select any one of these four. If there's a fifth option you want to put, you can also put that, but also mention the city that you come from, because today we have some locations, some markets where we have a bigger opportunity, and also more partners which are invited, and some markets where we have a lesser penetration, and some markets which are completely unserviced, which are being serviced by our regional teams or partners who are closer to those locations. So you can select any four of these options to introduce yourself. If you're a professional, you can write P. If you are a management consultant, you can write MC. If you are a business owner, any kind of business that you run, even if that's a franchise business, you can put B. If you're looking for a career change, you can write C. So request, friends, please start and write a little bit about yourself, and please mention the city. Some of you are writing in, but I don't see everybody mentioning their city. So Sajid, I'll request if you want to take that up. Let's pick up the names of all our friends who have joined in, and let's introduce them to everyone else also.
Sure, Ms. Chaudhary, thank you. Right, I see Anirban Datta, who's a professional from Kolkata. There's Ram Prasad Parsarthi, and says he's a business owner, but then please also mention your city. It helps us to, understand and, get a good idea of your profile there. Manikant, again, says a business owner. Please also mention city. Sridhar, okay, says Sai Sridhar, business again. Pariti Nagendran, okay, he's a professional from Chennai. Great. Wilson says it's a career change. Also, please mention your city there. Gansham, yes, I see that. Please also mention the category that you fit into, and of course, the city that you're from. Manoranjan Das. Sai Sridhar is from Chennai, yeah, okay. And so he's mentioned that he's a business owner as well. Earlier he's mentioned that. Radhakrishnan is a management consultant from Chennai. Welcome.
Friends, you can also mention your profile. I think some of you have also shared that. Maybe I'll pick. I see we have one of our friends who joined from Guwahati. He's a real estate as a background. So, and that works very well for us. And most of our partners, I would say, who are currently working with us, they come with an average experience of 20 years, some even beyond 20 years, 15 years. But the average experience of our partners is 20 years, who largely come from professional background, mid to senior level management level. And they also have consulting background. But real estate offers a very strong proposition because a franchise business is run on a particular location. So anyone who comes with that fitment also of helping the franchisees to also scout a location becomes another income stream for the partners. Yes, Sajid.
Sure, and thank you. And Ramprasad Parsasarthi says he's from Chennai. Wilson Coimbatore, Ramkumar, yes. Yeah, Hitesh has already mentioned real estate agent from Guwahati. And Karpakarajan Chettiar, he's from Thiruvananthapuram. Please also mention the category that you represent. And Aksh Srivatsav, he's from Lucknow. Okay, he's a management consultant, good. Ram Kumar from Bangalore is a business owner. Deepak Sai, Kolkata, an IT professional, great. Gansham, yes, as mentioned, is from Bangalore and is professional. Geeta Pawar is a business professional from Maharashtra. Raghupati from Tiruvallur, Chennai. You could also mention your category that you represent. And Manikant, yes, Manikant is a business manager, Dynamic Group. Okay, that's a group that he's with from Coimbatore.
So I see a very large participation from south of India. I see we have Mr. Venkat from Bangalore. Welcome, Venkatji. We also have Kiran Kumar Kola from Hyderabad. You are looking for a career change. Welcome. Shubhamji, welcome. You are a business owner from Guwahati. And I also see Mr. Subhash Kumar from supply chain business. And Raipur is a very interesting market. Subhashi will be very happy to consider this market. And I also see some other friends of ours who are writing from markets like even Nagpur. Welcome, Rohitji. And I also, Mr. Venkat, working as a technical manager for an infra development company. So thank you so much, friends, for writing in. Anything that you have to share with us, you can please go ahead. Any understanding you have on the franchise business, we will be happy to also hear from you. So thank you so much for writing in. And we generally ask this every single time because it is important for us to know the profile of people who have joined in, because that is also one of the selection criteria that we have when we interview you. So very quickly, what I'll do is I'll tell you what our proposition is, and then a small presentation that we would run you through, which will talk about the industry, what our offerings are at large, how you as a business partner gains and benefits and makes money. That's most important part of our presentation. So what we do, the problem, like I said, what we're solving is we're helping people to start a business. Now, this requires two larger stakeholders. One is the investor who wants to start a business. And the other side, we have companies who want to award their franchisees, right? So these are two larger stakeholders that we need in a business like ours. So when you start as an independent franchise consultant, to you, everybody is a client because entrepreneurship is very, very big, right? And Franchise India is the most experienced team in the world. When I say in the world, there is nobody who's as experienced as we are, including the many years of experience that we have, distribution that we have, connect we have with the investor community, and equally with the larger companies that we work with. So when you start coming and working with us, you don't have to start from scratch. We sit on a very big community, which is investor community. Every single month, there are 1 lakh people who inquire to start a business. And these are unique inquiries that come to us from across the country. So these are unique people, unique inquiries which come every single month on our platforms, through the leads that we generate, on different opportunities, through the website of our company, Franchise India. And so that's what we sit on. So this aggregation of brands is not something which is very, very easy. On the website of Franchise India, we have 20,000 companies which are listed, from Tanish to Raymond's to startups, all industries, small investments, large investments, corporates. Everybody today swears by the community of investors that we have. Even these larger corporates, everybody knows these companies, they can reach out to them. But even these companies would use the platform of Franchise India, from our exhibition participation to the website, to even list their opportunities, so that they can actually reach out to select profile of people. So what we have done is we have aggregated the entire community of people who want to start a business. Even if you put start your business or franchise, the only platform that you would reach is a Franchise India platform. And even companies who want to scale, expand their businesses, nobody else in the market who provides entire solutions under one space. Right. So when you become a partner with Franchise India, you get a very big portfolio of investors to work. And these are inquiries that we get every single day from the markets that you are working in. And on the other side, you get a big aggregation of brands. So every single day, Franchise India launches one new opportunity, because we have a big fleet of teams who work across the country. We have a big business development team, including our IFC partners, who in fact prospect the companies that we can work with. So every single day, there is a new opportunity which is launched, and these opportunities are open for every single IFC partners of ours, wherein you can choose which brand you want to work in. Absolutely, it has to have a rollout in the market that you work in. And this aggregation of brand is not something easy. So when you come on board, there are almost about 600 brands that are aggregated already with us, where we have exclusive contract with these companies to represent them and get franchise partners for them. So we do lead generation for these companies. We market them. We generate leads from the markets where they want to roll out. And all these leads are given to our IFC partners for the brands they have selected to work. So it is not that you have to work on all the 600 opportunities. You can create your own portfolio. And this is something that becomes a part of our training. So when we do our IFC training, every month we do an IFC training. And in this month, our IFC training starts next week, which is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday day of June. Next week, we have 3 days training. So we take you through the entire product portfolio, how you should make our investor acquisition, how you acquire investors, how you reach out to them. So the entire training is given by them, by us to all our partners. So you have an aggregation of these brands on one side, and you also have prospective business buyers who want to start a business. So it's a big engine, I would say, of opportunity creation that you can get started right from the day that you partner with us. So what we have is these two people. How we make money are, I would say, four larger stream for us. So one is the investor side. So these investors would reach out to us because they need guided assistance to start a business. There is a fee that these investors would pay to us as a commitment to take our services, and we handhold them through the entire process of starting a business. And that fee becomes one revenue stream for us. And there are different slabs depending on the investment of that individual. From 30,000 to 5 lakh rupees is the slab of these investors under which they make registration to us. The second revenue again comes from the same investor once he has taken the business through us. So once he's taken the business, there's a success fee that comes to us on the closure of that particular transaction. That also becomes a very important, or I would say a big ticket size deal, which can be anything from 2 lakhs to even 15 lakhs, which investors pay a brokerage to Franchise India to help them buy or get into a deal with a specific brand of their choice. The second stream is from the companies, which is the brands. So like I said, there are two propositions that we offer to companies. One is we help them to consult on their business model. And second, we help them expand. We do lead generation for them. We do representation through a lot of our own shows, exhibitions that we do every single month. And second is we help them to appoint franchise partners, dealers, and distributors. So one revenue comes when these companies come on board. There's a business development engagement fee these companies give us as a one-time engagement fee. And the second fee comes to us on opening or signing off these outlets. So if I have a rollout of, say, 100 for a specific brand, I would get a brokerage on every single unit that I would open for that particular opportunity. So largely, these are four streams through which our revenue comes on board. And we also have a structure which I let Sajid run through that. But our partners get a very large chunk of that revenue which is earned, especially on the deals, because deals is a earned revenue. The average money that we make on every single brand that we do a deal on is starting from 2 lakh rupees. But we also have larger opportunities, maybe a jewelry brand, which is 20 crores, 30 crores, 50 crores of investment, or a master franchisee of an international brand. The success fees in these companies can range anything from 50 to 50 lakhs also. One of my partners last year, he was very successful in getting one of our registered investors who registered at a cost of 5 lakh rupees. And he alone, for getting him that brand, paid us 30 lakhs of brokerage. And I got about 50 lakhs from the brand. So one single deal, while that is a very big size deal, that got us about 70 lakhs, both from the investor and the brand. But the average is, I would say, starts from 2 lakhs, goes up to about 20 odd lakhs. So I'll request Sajid if we can run them through a small presentation, friends. I'll also request if you have any questions, please write them in the Q&A box. We'll be happy to connect with you in person. And like I said, we have teams across the country in most of the cities I see here, especially the larger cities where we have our offices. I have my local teams who can also connect with you post the webinar. Sajid, over to you. Can we have the presentation, please?
Sure, thank you for that, Ms. Chaudhary. All right, so we had discussed about what franchising is, and Ms. Chaudhary had indeed talked about what we do here at Franchise India. Mainly it is about we connecting both the investor community with that of the brands that we got with us, right? So in a sense, you could say that we're doing the matchmaking in at Franchise India. Now, franchising, we also talked about that this is a huge business. It's in fact a 4.8, close to a $5 trillion market, and it's rapidly growing as well, throughout the world. And it's the right opportunity for all of us, to be in the franchising space. Now, let me just quickly take you through a pie chart, that would talk about the split of, the share that each of this sector, takes in the franchising market. So you would see that, the biggest of the share, is taken by the quick share restaurants. So that's got about 21%, that's taken by that. And then you've got the main. So almost all the sectors, we look at this pie chart, you have almost all the sectors that is covered in here. And then, we have the maintenance sector, which is again closely at a 13% share. Personal care is, something which is, largely, taken up the share and operating quite well, in the franchising space. And then children's businesses, that's something which again is a good growing, business in franchising. Retail is, of course, always been a good, market in the franchising space. Business services of all kinds, that is, something which again is a good one as far as franchising is concerned. Then, of course, you have the hotels and motels, which take a good share again in this pie. Automotive, section. So even you think about the daily products that you consume, say milk or the other products, all these comes from a franchise, right? So that's the kind of penetration that franchising has. And you look at pet care. Pet care also is something which is really growing now, right? So most people out there has got a pet and therefore would want some kind of a service that would take care of their pets. So that's one huge industry as far as franchising is concerned. Then recreational, a bit of it. That also is a great, or I would say a large space. And retail food sales, financial services, all these, so you think of any of those, sectors, industry, it is already a part of, franchising. So it is that big, franchising. And as we talked about, it's a $4.8 trillion market. So almost every brand in the world wants to get into this franchising space, right? So that's the kind of market size that we're talking about here in terms of franchising. Now, let me move on to the next slide. So you see it says tablet, and this stands for, the T in the tablet stands for technology. So what it means is that, so you already are aware that, and through your leaders who have talk to you before you have attended this webinar, that you'd be receiving a minimum of 50 plus investor leads from Franchise India. And these leads come to you via a CRM. It's a world-class CRM that we've got. And it's through these, through this CRM that you'd be receiving your leads that are passed on to you. And then you have the A, which stands for access to the Franchise India or Franwork infrastructure. So we've got offices across the across 97 cities in India, and of course 15 countries overseas. So you can use any of our offices to work from, right? So you can use this, and also to bring in your investors. Let's say you've got an investor who you would want to engage in a discussion, or for any kind of meeting, you could get them to our offices, and you could use our facility for free, of course, right? And then the B in the tablet stands for the brands. You'll have access to a lot of brands that Franchise India is already associated with. We've got 18,000 plus brands that are listed with us as well. And the moment you enroll with Franchise India, you would get access to all these brands, and then you would get to start your business started as well. So that's the B. And then the L in tablet stands for the lead support. So I mentioned that it's via the CRM that you would receive the 50 plus leads that we pass on to you every month. And apart from this, also there are various events and exhibitions that are conducted by Franchise India, and the leads generated out of that also is something which you would receive, right? So that's the lead support that you'd be getting from Franchise India. And then the E in the tablet, E stands for the events. So I mentioned about large mega events that we conduct throughout the world, and then all these leads are something which you can again use for your business, which means there are investors who visit these events, right? They register for this event and then they visit, and then of course that is when you interact with these investors there, and then you could further get on with a discussion with them, and then look at getting the deals closed, right? And we conduct events throughout the year, and that's the kind of the frequency that we conduct these mega events. And then the T stands for the training, 3-day training. Now, for you to talk to the investors in a consulting manner, there's going to be a 3-day training, given by our chairman. In fact, he's also known as the franchising guru in the franchising world globally. So Mr. Gaurav Mari, who's the chairman of Franchise India, he's the one who's going to be training you. And this 3-day training will give you the complete understanding of how you need to be talking to an investor, how the Franchise India or even the franchise business model works. And it's going to be very comprehensive training that you've received that will equip you to get started with getting your business going. So this is the tablet that it stands for. So moving on to the next slide. Now let me talk about the various levels that you would grow within Franchise India once you've joined as a consultant. Now it says the proposed structure of IFC. IFC stands for the Independent Franchise Consultant, right? So when you join as a consultant with Franchise India, you'd be at a basic level. So it's the entry level that you are in, right? So, and once you start generating revenue, once you start making revenue, now, Ms. Chowdhury had explained about how you go about generating a revenue. So basically your task is to match make between the investor and the brand, right? You'd be talking to the investor, getting an understanding of, their needs, and then you'd be aligning these investors with the right brand for them, right? So that is what you'd be doing. And then, of course, there are these 4 different services, or the streams through which you'd be making your revenue. I'll take you through that in the next slide. But so it's through those services that you'd be generating your revenue as well. And as you generate revenue, you would be moving on from one level to the other. And there are 4 levels of growth or promotions that you would have within Franchise India. So at the base, you have this IFC, that's the entry level. And then once you have made something like a 15 lakh revenue, right? Through the services, the 4 different services that we offer, or the streams, that you can make your revenue, you would start generating a revenue. And suppose you're making, say, about 15 lakh, revenue in a year, or say 15 deals that you're closing in that particular year, then you would be promoted from the basic IFC level to the IFC elite. That's the second level, right? And then once you're at that level, and then once, let's say you further, increase your revenue and you make a revenue of, 50 lakh, for a year, or say about 30 deals in that particular year, then you would be promoted from the IFC elite to the IFC pro, right? So that's a third level that you would grow to. And finally, when you make a revenue of 1 crore or above, or if you're going to be making 50 deals in a year, then you would be promoted to the master level, and that's the highest level that you grow within Franchise India as a independent franchise consultant. Now there are benefits that you get as you get promoted from each of these levels. I will take you through that bit of it in the next slide, and that will give you a complete idea as to what it takes, or rather what kind of a revenue that you'd be able to make, and what is the kind of commission that you'd be able to make for yourself when you grow through each of these levels of growth. Right, so this is the proposed structure. And if you look at this table, on the first column, you got the level. So here it says product. So those are the levels that you grow. That is IFC Basic, then IFC Elite, IFC Pro, and then the IFC Master. The second column, where you see the IA, then the IS, and the BS. And the third column says the BD. Now, these are the 4 different revenue streams, or the services, that through which you'll be making your revenue. Now, you see the IA, then the IS, and the BS. Now, I stands for the investor, right? And then the B stands for the brand, right? So which means that the first 2, the IA and IS, is related to the investor. And then the last 2, which is the BS and the BD, is related to the brand, right? So now, if you recall, what Ms. Chowdhury had talked about, where, when you interact or when you talk to the investor is going to be interested in the overall program that we are, the service that we offer, and they're going to ask you as to what is the next step. And that is when you would be telling the investor to firstly register with us, right? The investor is supposed to register with us, and that is when we can go about and service that investor. So which means that is the IA. IA stands for investor acquisition. So you're going to acquire this investor. You're going to register that investor, right? So let me give you an example here. So you also know that every month you'd be receiving a minimum of 50 plus investor leads. Now, supposing that particular month, you were only able to talk to 10 investors out of those 50 given to you. So which means you have talked to 10 investors, which invariably means that you will be having 10 registrations done for that particular month. Now, the minimum amount or the minimum fee that the investor is supposed to pay to register with Franchise India is 30,000. So which means 30,000 multiplied by the 10 registrations which you have for the month. So which means 30,000 multiplied by 10, which is going to be an overall revenue of 3 lakh. Now, 3 lakh is the overall revenue that you generated for Franchise India, but this is not going to be paid in entirety to you because there's a certain revenue share or a revenue percentage that happens between you and Franchise India. Now, because you are at the initial level of an IFC, and if you look at the column, the second column that is, you'd see a 40, a 50, a 60, and a 70%, right? So what this means is that, so when you are at the IFC basic level, you get a 40% revenue share. So whatever revenue that you generate, you're going to be getting 40% of that, and the remaining is kept or retained by Franchise India. And then as you go to the next level, that is the IFC Elite, you see a 50% revenue share. So which means any revenue generated, you get to keep 50, and the 50% is retained by Franchise India. And then at the IFC Pro, you get to keep 60%. And at the IFC Master, you'd be at a 70% revenue share, which means at the level of the IFC Master, whatever revenue that you make, you get to keep 70%, and Franchise India retains 30% of that revenue. Now, coming back to this example, I talked about you have made an overall revenue of 3 lakhs from the IA, which is the investor acquisition service. Now, here you're going to be getting 40% of 3 lakhs. So 40% of 3 lakh is going to be 1.2 lakh. So 1.2 lakh is going to be the payout or the commission that you get from Franchise India for that particular month for the IA service that you have done. Now, the next step is obviously once you've registered the investor, you are now supposed to service this particular investor. So that is why you see the next one, the IS. So IS stands for investor servicing, which means you'd be servicing, you'd be finding the right brand for this investor. So supposing you have gone ahead and done the matchmaking for these investors, and you found the right brand, and both the investor and the brand have got into a agreement and signed the deal. Now you got to remember that every time there's a deal that is signed between the investor and the brand, Franchise India gets a commission from both these parties, that is the investor side and the brand side. So right now, because we have helped this investor, that is the IS, find the right kind of brand, it is time for the investor to pay us the investor servicing fee. Now, the investor servicing fee can start off from a minimum of 1 lakh and go much higher as well, depending upon the kind of investment capacity the investor has got. But it starts off at the lowest as low as 1 lakh for providing the services which the investor is supposed to pay us. Now, you already know that you've got 10 registrations which you've already done for the month. So 10 registrations multiplied by 1 lakh. I'm taking that minimum amount of IS for calculation's sake. So therefore, 1 lakh multiplied by the 10 registrations for the month. So therefore, you will be generating an overall revenue of 10 lakh as the IS fees. The IS is the investor servicing fee. Now here again, you'll be getting 40% of 10 lakhs, which is going to be 4 lakh. So 4 lakh is going to be your commission or the profit that you'll be making from Franchise India for that particular month. Now, obviously, I talked about the brand is also supposed to pay us the brand servicing fee. So now it's the brand's turn to give us the brand servicing fee. Now, here again, the brand servicing fee, can start off from 2 lakhs and can, run into several lakhs, 10 lakhs, 50 lakhs, can go up to 50, 60 lakhs as well. Again, depends upon the kind of brand, that we're talking about. So here again, for the sake of calculation, I'm going to be taking the lowest of the slab, which is 2 lakhs. And 2 lakhs, I'm going to be multiplying it with the 10 registrations, which you already have for the month. So which means that 2 lakh multiplied by 10, which is going to be an overall of 20 lakh. So 20 lakh is going to be the revenue that you're going to be generating for Franchise India. And here again, you're going to be getting 40% of 20 lakh as your payout or the commission, which is going to be 8 lakh. So 8 lakh is your profit or the commission that you get from Franchise India for that particular month for the BS, which is a brand servicing fee. Now, I move on to the third column, which talks about the BD, which is the fourth service that we offer. So this is slightly different from the first three, because BD stands for business development. Now, what this means is that, say, supposing you're browsing the internet, and you come across a brand, or let's say you've, walked into a restaurant or a salon, and you've noticed that, that those guys are doing very good business, that the brand is doing very good business, but then they have not got into franchising as yet. So then what you'd be doing is you would be approaching the owner of this establishment, and you obviously will introduce yourself, say that you're from Franchise India, and that you will be able to help that entity or that brand to scale up their business as a franchising business model. And you also will be telling them, once they get in as a franchising business, they will be able to, of course, quickly scale up their business and then make some serious profits as well, because they'll be having multiple outlets opened through this franchising model. So, and that is all that you need to tell them, and just collect the name and contact detail and pass it on to us. Now, we've got a specialized team at Franchise India, which is the FranCorp. And FranCorp is a US-based consulting firm. It's a Chicago-based one. And so therefore, this team would go ahead and talk to the owner of this establishment and do the business analysis of their business, do the due diligence and all kinds of analysis to understand how we could help that entity or the brand scale up their business as a franchising model. And because we've got enough and more years of experience in franchising and helping, almost a lot of businesses out there scale up their business as a franchise model, we precisely know how to position that particular brand in a way that they will be able to quickly scale up their business. And we also have got, investors on our side. So therefore, we will also be helping this brand, find the right, kind of investor so that, they quickly scale up their business. So if you look at it, we are actually providing end-to-end solution to this new brand that is going to be onboarded with us. Now, for the brand to avail these services of ours, whatever that we are offering, they're supposed to pay us a certain business development fee, right? And the minimum amount is 8.5 lakhs, for a brand to onboard with us, to take our services. Now, imagine in a month, even if you're just doing 2 business development cases, then we're talking about 8.5 lakhs multiplied by 2, which is going to be an overall revenue of 17 lakhs. And for this particular service, you'll be given a 20% of that. So 20% of 17 lakhs is going to be 3.4 lakh. Now, 3.4 lakh is going to be your payout or the commission that you get from Franchise India by just bringing in 2 business development cases for that particular month. And why it is at 20% as opposed to the other 3 services, which is at 40, 50, 60, and 70%? The reason is that here you're only giving us the reference. The rest of the hard work is going to be done by Franchise India, but then we still respect the fact that you've given us this reference, and that is why we give you a healthy 20% of the revenue that is generated, and that is why you get to make 3.4 lakh as your payout of the commission for bringing in just 2 business development cases in a month, right? So these are the 4 different services, or I would say the revenue streams through which you of course generate your revenue, and the kind of profits or the revenue that you'd be sharing with Franchise India. Now, you look at the 4th column here, which says leads. We already talked about it. So every month we'd be receiving a minimum of 50 plus investor leads. Now, before I get on to the leads, let me also add the other incentives that you'd be receiving from Franchise India. Now, apart from these 4 services or the revenue streams, you also make revenue from the brand side as well, which is called as the cash incentive that you would get. Now, every time that you do a matchmaking between the investor and the brand, and there's a deal that happens between these both parties, then you would get something from the brand side as a cash incentive, right? And the brands pay this cash incentive to you directly, because they know that every month you would receive a minimum of 50 plus leads from Franchise India, and obviously every brand out there wants more outlets of theirs, so therefore they would want you to bring more leads to them. So that is why every time you do a matchmaking with them and the deal is done, these brands, some of these big brands, pay you a cash incentive directly. And Franchise India does not take any share out of that. That is directly paid to you. Whatever amount is paid by the brand is directly coming to your account, and we do not take any share out of that. And we are okay with that, because at the end of the day, that's going to keep you happy and motivated further. So therefore, that is the additional cash incentive that you get from the brand side. And that apart, we also conduct international trips, for our consultants. And this happens every quarter, consecutive quarter, right? So the last quarter, which is January, February, and March, it was Bangkok, and this time round it is Bali. So what happens is, see, when we would be setting up a certain target. For example, it could be a 15 lakh or a 20 lakh for that particular quarter, the 3 months. And if you achieve that, then you would be entitled to this international trip. And it's always an international location that we take our consultants to. And it's usually a 3-night or a 4-night kind of trip. And all the expenses, everything is entirely is borne by Franchise India. So you don't have to spend anything for that. And if you want to take your spouse along, then you add another 5 lakh on top of that target that we set for you. Then you'd be able to take your spouse along as well. And here again, for both of you, the entire expenses, everything is borne by Franchise India, right? So that is the international trip that we offer to our consultants when they achieve a certain target. And then apart from that, there's also something called the working capital. Now, here again, there's a certain target that is set, and when you achieve that, there's a certain amount of money that is earmarked for your expenses. So, for example, if let's say there's a big event happening in another city, then you could use that working capital money for you to for your expenses, like your flight charges or your stay or whatever that expenses might be. So that's a working capital that you get from Franchise India. And there are many more such incentives that is rolled out from Franchise India every week or month or quarter that we do. And we do all this to ensure that you're happy and motivated to work with Franchise India, right? So that is what we do in terms of getting you motivated, and also in terms of support, right? So it's only that first level of calling that you do with your investor. After that, once you build a rapport with the investor, then you would be engaging that investor with us, and all of us would be collectively suggesting the right kind of brand for that investor to take. So which means we will be there right from the beginning, to the end, till the time you have closed a deal. We are going to be there with you in terms of supporting you, right, in closing that deal. And why are we doing this? We're doing this because you got to understand that this is also a revenue share kind of model. So which means the onus is on us. It's also very important for us to ensure that you are successful as a consultant with Franchise India, because that is when we also make that revenue there. So therefore, we are there through the entire life cycle of your engagement with the investor to ensure that you are closing the deal and that you make some good revenue. And of course, we also make that. So you look at it, as a business model. It's a win-win for both you as a consultant and Franchise India as well, right? So this is the business model that we have designed, and a very successful model at that. And this model is not limited to India alone, right? So this is running across the globe, right? So this is a model that is running internationally as well, and a very successful model there, right? So this is what we offer, in terms of the revenue or the incentives, and then of course the kind of support that you get. And if you look at the last column here, which talks about the CRM ID, so we understand that, right? Once you engage with us and once you start making revenue, you'd be making some serious revenue, from the time you join as a basic IFC, and then you grow on to the next level, which means if you look at the last column, you're talking about a CRM ID. At the IFC level, you got one CRM ID, right? And then once you get to the next level, the IFC Elite, at this level, you'll start to make some really good revenue, and you would need support as well to help you out. And that is why you can add an additional resource. It could be like an employee that you add to this, team of yours, and you will have enough money at the time to pay off the employee salary and still make some, really good profits as well. So that is why you get 1+1. 1 stands for your ID, +1 is your, employees, CRM ID. It could also be of, you could also employ friends or family also as, part of your team. And then as you go to the next level, which is the third level at the ISC Pro, you'd be getting 1+2, which means 1 is your CRM ID plus 2 additional CRM IDs, 2 additional employees that you can add. And then finally at the master level, you'd be having 1+3 CRM IDs, right? So that's the kind, we understand that, you would need, that kind of support from us in terms of, scaling up your, business as an IFC as well. And that is why we are, giving you these additional, CRM IDs, so that you can expand your business further. Right, so this is how it's going to be overall as far as, the incentives and the support and everything that is, coming to you. Now, all this, all the kind of support and everything for you to now engage or to align with Franchise India, what is it that it takes? So all that is required for you to align with Franchise India as a consultant is a one-time registration fee. And this is going to be 6 lakhs plus, GST. And for the next 3 years, you don't have to worry about any marketing or any other bit of it, because we will be investing in your engagement with us, all the marketing activities, all aspects of it is going to be taken care by Franchise India. So which means you just have to focus on building the rapport with your investor, and then bringing that investor to us, and then we collectively getting or ensuring that we have the deal closed with the investor, right? So this is how it's going to be, or rather what it takes for you to join as a consultant. And this is the licensing fee that we take, and this is like as good as you taking up the franchisee of Franchise India, right? So this is what it is going to be. And overall, so this is overall how it's going to be in terms of how we go about this business. And for the Indian market, it's 6 lakhs plus GST. For the international markets, specifically for the African market, it's going to be $8,000, and anything outside the African market, the European, the US, UK, all these markets, it's going to be $12,000, right? So this is the licensing. As I told you, this is an international model that is running successfully across the globe. And so this is a good opportunity for the ones, and I when we went through your profiles, many of you who working as professionals, or business consultants, or be it looking for a change, it aligns with all of you guys in terms of how you want to go about it, right? Depending on how much of time you're able to spare, you'll be able to make that kind of a revenue for yourself as well. So I would say that this is a good break for each of you who's out here. But then again, we will have our team, we'll have our respective leaders from each of the region connect with you again. We will go through your profile again, understand that, and then we will connect back with you to engage in a discussion further. And if things work fine, of course, there's going to be a final round of interview, either with our chairman, Mr. Gaura Maria, or Ms. Chowdhury, or with the CEO, Mr. Sanjay Bhatt as well. And then according to that, we will look at aligning you with Franchise India. Right. So, Ms. Chowdhury, would you want to add anything?
Thank you so much,
further?
Sajid. I'd like to thank all our friends who joined in. And before we sign off, I think 2 things which I want to also submit. Our business has no regional boundaries. So which means even if you become a partner, you based out of Hyderabad, you can pick up business from any part of the country. Having said that, a lot of my partners, not only India, but a lot of my partners are also handling some international brands where they travel to even countries where we are present. I had a show in Sri Lanka, I had my partners there, we had a show in Abu Dhabi, we had a show in Qatar. All my FC partners travel to these locations if they have a brand to represent in these markets. So there are no regional boundaries. You can pick up business from any part of the world. And second, our business, a lot of people ask on the ROI. So our business is less on the investment, because the investment is very, very small. And this is a commitment where we, as a company, as your equal partners, I would say, we spend more on every single partner, be it training, be it lead generation. All our partners have a free access to all the largest exhibitions, micro events that we conduct every single month. So the month of May, we hosted Franchise India's Mother Show, which is world's largest franchise exhibition, which brings in about 40,000 investors from across the country. I had almost my 90 IFC partners who actually participated. When I say participated, they were not just their meeting companies, but they were representing brands that they were handling, which also gives you very good access to the people who are actually filtered investors who pay money to enter these events. And every month, there are about 15 micro events that I conduct in every market. And some events we conduct only for our IFC partners. So if you have, say, 6 brands you're representing, and there are, say, 5 partners who are collectively representing, say, 25 odd opportunities, there's also special event that we conduct for our partners. The locations can be chosen by you. The entire investment from lead generation to even the venue, all that is done and facilitated by our teams. So thank you so much, friends, for being with us. We look forward to connecting with all our qualified partners. And finally, I'll also request our teams, if you can all share your coordinates in the chat box. We'll be happy to get in touch with all of you. Thank you so much, friends.
Thank you, Ms. Chaudhary. And thanks for everyone. Have a great evening ahead of you.